7 days हुआ?
नहीं
21 दिन था ना?
नहीं हुआ अभी तक 21.
Oh, we are live actually.
Are we?
Yes.
No, we go live at 12:05.
No. Sanika is saying we are live.
How come?
Niraj sir, I think it's a coffee effect.
Are you sure we are live?
Yeah, we are live.
Can you see it on the YouTube live? Guys, can you reaffirm that we are live? I want that reaffirmation that we are live.
Yes. She says.
Sanika is listening to it.
Yes.
Yes, we are live. Okay. I will start off with the big news of the day. The big news of the day is 15 दिन से जो कॉफी पेंडिंग थी
वो हमने डिलीवर
जो हमने प्रॉमिस करी थी प्रोड्यूसर्स को और टीम को वो हमने डिलीवर कर दी
पूरी टीम को कर दी
पूरी टीम को कर दी
पूरी टीम को कर दी
नेक्स्ट आवर टीम कॉफी के लिए
but you need to do something.
हाँ
These guys produce a show for us.
and plus
so we'll do the
milestone.
research.
Plus milestone.
Okay. So we'll do something.
But no, okay, science. So it's a gift from my end today. We'll get a cake.
For
Done.
Anushi?
For Anushi.
For Anushi.
Done. Yeah.
Why, Anushi? Why will we get a cake for you?
I don't know. You say.
Anushi is getting engaged. And therefore, we are celebrating her big moment. But yeah. Okay, good. And the defense sector is also celebrating a big moment.
Yes.
I know. Yeah, but just a quick word on the markets first. Not doing too bad, yeah.
Half
25 400 के आसपास. मोटा मोटी.
25 500 के आसपास there is a resistance which comes in from call writers. But I think that वो रहेगा अभी थोड़ा बहुत.
पता था आप घुसे होगे कुछ.
Of
expiry, FNO.
वो तो आना ही है.
No, but you know, yesterday.
No better indicator than an FNO.
Yeah, no, but yesterday, for example, and viewers should do this. If you do the, by the way, all of you subscribe, like, you can congratulate Anushi as well. So that is part one. You can congratulate us. We lived up to our coffee thing. Yes. No, but yesterday, Chandan Taparia was mentioning this, and all of you should look at the seasonality factor in July. Apparently, July is a great month for Indian markets. More often than not, they've given good returns.
3.5% or something.
मतलब वो भी average returns 3.5%, but most of the times it's been good returns. Chandan Taparia believed that it was a good time to buy the Nifty yesterday on open, by the way, and it's given returns thus far. He believes that there was a 500 to 700 point rally in the offing by the month of July end, which is not bad. Lawrence Balanco's note today says that there is a very high probability that 26,333 is the level that he's given, can happen shortly. So that is number two. He's also given stock ideas, by the way, interestingly, Lawrence Balanco. But that's number two. And Gautam Shah recently had said, right, when he came last 10-15 days ago, that he saw, despite the skirmishes, etc. and all that, he saw 25,600 on the cards. Now it's about 200 points away. So we'll hit that. A good idea to maybe call him after that to try and see if there is merit in initiating a fresh call from these levels or not.
No,
So
it's turning out to be a good month ahead of the July thing. And of course, we need to be a little cautious also because there is also now anticipation building up for a July cut as well. Right? Means some of them are talking about it. But yesterday again, Powell spoke about it, saying that he's not in a hurry.
Are you in a July cut by the Fed?
By the Fed.
But still, there are like two probability of two cuts.
Two is there now. They were talking of first September and December, but now they're talking that July maybe ho sakta, means they can have one in July. But I think Powell is not in a rush to do it. That's what he's saying. He's saying I want to see the tariff impact going on, and that becomes the biggest point of contention to July 9th.
See, he knows he's going, right? 2026. He doesn't want to be seen as cowering down to Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Why should he go and say July, ke kharidunga? And then people will say, oh, he's bowing down to Donald Trump. He doesn't want that.
And so then we'll continue to see Trump posting about too late Powell again and again. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
As long as both are on the right side, in the sense the economy is holding up in the US and Trump and Powell is holding up on interest rate, that's fine. But if economy slips and Powell is not doing, then it's a problem, which is the problem.
Yeah, so I think the central bank will maintain its independence, I would reckon, or whatever. So anyway, it's a US problem, not ours. But yeah, what the US does have an impact. So therefore, the interesting piece today.
But
okay.
Defense is something which is interesting today, Anushi.
Why, Anushi? Why?
So it's on the defense budget spending that we are looking, and it's a big story that we are seeing. 5% of GDP as compared to the 2% of GDP levels that we are seeing. And a lot of these countries, NATO countries, are now supporting this increase in defense spending. Even if you just go back a few months earlier, even Germany talked about this, wherein they wanted to boost their spending over here. So this bodes well for our own domestic players as well, because, as a defense minister, even Rajnath Singh, he has emphasized on the 50,000 crore of a mark by FY29, and he wants to increase focus in a lot of areas. This includes missiles, radars, ammunitions. So something interesting that we can build on. In fact, what was also interesting, that the overall CY24, the $1.4 trillion of $1.4 trillion dollars is the mark, if I'm not wrong. That was the kind of spending that had happened across these NATO nations. So with this 5% target now, they're saying that with 1% GDP, there would be almost a 20% of an increase that we can be seeing. So that is something which is very interesting.
So basically, you're looking at what, 300 to 400 billion dollars of spends coming over the next 3 to 5 years, basically. And I don't think the military complex is geared to supply that kind of thing. So that will surely fall into some of the Indian companies which have tie up with them and other. So the opportunity of exports come in.
You too think so? Anushi, you think so as well?
I think some of the big players over here now, Bharat Electronics, is one player which keeps on emerging in terms of where these opportunities are concerned, in terms of radars, in terms of the air defense systems. These are some of the equipments that even the EU nations have pointed out that they want to build on. And these are some of the areas in which Bharat Electronics, or even say data patterns, they operate in. So some bit of benefit that we can see for these companies going forward. What do you think so about this?
I think, last 6 months, we've seen two conflicts coming in, and where air defense played a bigger role in it, right? Means you are now looking at that you don't have to cross the border to do a fight. You just have to stay in your border and do a fight, basically. So which is called a standoff kind of weapons, which is good because you're staying within with outside the radar of the enemy, and then you firing it out. And that's the new warfare which is coming into play in across the globe. We saw that happening in India and Pakistan, where we did a lot of standoff weapons. We used a lot of standoff weapons and radars and other stuff, and air defenses for what is coming across into India. And we saw the same thing happening in Israel and Iran as well. I mean, including Jordan used some of it to block some of the Iranian missiles which were there. So I think that is a key area, and that also opens up a lot of opportunity for some of the Indian tech companies. Because while we don't talk about much what tech does for the Indian defense sector, there is a lot of Indian companies who do niche work in this space, and that opens up a big opportunity for them. So of course, a system integrator like a BEL will be the front and go, but they'll be back end software guys and everything, because it's all about software and systems in place. It's not about the manual thing which any longer. It is it's a grid kind of system which detects and which uses its systems, and maybe a little bit of AI also which comes into play here in terms of anticipating where the incoming missile or the missile we want to do it in that sense. So look from that point of view. Next 5 years is going to be something like a tech-led air defense systems, where you have Indian companies also at the forefront, and they will be able to match some of the global companies, because those companies have not done much of our R&D on this in that sense.
So, guys, here's the thing. We're talking about some smaller pieces, but I just did some question answer on AI. The total opportunity size of NATO countries upping their defense spend from 2% to 5% would be $1.19 trillion annually. All right, this is AI. Now, these numbers may vary, but let's assume this number is right? No way to figure it out, right? Individual country ka GDP dhundo, ye karo, wo karo. Fight hai thoda. Let's assume this number is right.
I was saying for $400 billion.
But that's the projection which was widely given. So
let's assume between 500 billion to 1 trillion, jo bhi hai, right? Annually. That is huge.
Exactly.
It's not just then about drones and about this. I mean, I think shipyard companies will start getting orders because they would want to their naval forces. And Indian companies have now shown proof of the pudding. I think this is a really big step. Now it's up to Indian companies to try and figure out how is it that they can take it out there to the end clients and see what kind of contracts do we have already, supply chains do we have already, and how we can participate. But the opportunity size is big.
And the best thing is, over the last 10, 11 years, a lot of supply chain management within the Indian defense ecosystem has been built. A lot of tie-ups have happened. A lot of technology transfers or technology tie partnerships have happened, and that will help a big way in creating that kind of ecosystem which is required there. Because standalone, none of the European defense makers or the US defense makers will be able to do much.
Yeah.
Of course, this is all pushed by Trump, saying that why should I be subsidizing your defense, and so you have to increase it. That's what. But he's anticipating that the orders will go to US because of that. But I think the European countries are also very wary, saying that why should I be dependent on you for your defense? I will build it on my own, or I'll use my partners to do it. It's as simple as that. So there is an opportunity which is coming in. How will it materialize? You'll see a lot of announcements happening. Of course, we need to be very careful that even though 5 year is the target they have given, then none of them is going to achieve that 5 year target. Because the defense, just see this simple point.
So I'm so sorry, but this is my doctor calling. I just need to pick up this call. I'll come back in 1 minute.
So that's just a fact that Ukraine-Russia war almost put a pause on the entire defense manufacturing. And these companies were not able to supply to other countries. And the same is the case for Israel and Iran and others, right? So a single conflict can pause the entire manufacturing complex of defense, and that gives an opportunity for many emerging market countries and developing countries where you have defense is emerging in a big way. As a big opportunity.
Want to talk about the drone space as well. Now, after the Operation Sindoor, like what we'd seen in 2025, some of these drone companies, when I was looking at the con calls, let's say Zentech or even Paris Defense or Idea Forge, now they had seen that overall the order inflows were on the muted side. But after Operation Sindoor and even other recent developments that have taken place, now they're seeing more opportunities building here as well. What do you think about this space in terms of where the anti-drone, even the defense ministry also, they emphasize on the role of anti-drone systems as well. So what's the kind of opportunity that we are looking here? Because even this is one emerging area that we are seeing.
It's a big area. In that sense, there's no one winner here. Because if you look at the way drones and anti-drone systems have been manufactured in India, you had the defense secretary saying on our channel itself that we are not well prepared for drones, or Indian drones are not coming up to the mark. And they have been able to select some of the emerging companies or potential companies which is there, and that needs to be worked on. But that's something which will happen over a period of time as more technology comes into India and the types comes into here. Anti-drone system is nothing but software related and radar related stuff which is there, and there we have a much better understanding of it, so we are able to do that. So while on drones we need to build a scale and technology, where on anti-drone systems there are multiple technologies which are available within the country to manage it actually.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Let's move on.
Yes,
it seems like a defense show. But it isn't. There are other topics.
Auto.
What about auto?
I think the June numbers are going to be very bad for car companies.
Why so?
Vahan numbers are talking about 20 to 30% decline on a month-on-month and year-on-year number. Despite the fact that May used to be, I think May was a month where we had a Paris season or something, which is there. Despite that, there is a fall. But even if you discount the May part of it, YOY the numbers have been bad, 20 to 30% fall, which is coming in across the board from a retail sale, and that's basically you and me buying from the dealers.
Right? I'm not buying from the dealers.
You and me means the retail buying into the dealers, but you already have. That's
okay. Right? Let's move on.
So that's one thing. So I think that's something which will be a big factor for auto companies. Auto companies will be muted. if you remember, many of the auto companies have already taken a price hike. So one reason could be that. The other is the geopolitical factors which have pushed some of the sales in May, and in June they're not able to get it back. I don't think there was a Shraddh or something, right, in this month? No, right? So there was no.
Was there?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So, so that's there is hard. Then it's a consumption and discretionary spend related issue. Of course, two-wheeler is a surprise thing. TVS now become number one in EV.
Why is it surprising? I mean, the BMW type is rip and roaring. The EV cars, EV bikes are doing really well. It shouldn't surprise anybody.
No, it shouldn't surprise, but how Ola has given away the space,
which is
evident.
Wow.
And Ether also has now come up from 8% to 14%, and now they're at 16%, which is Ola is in 16%. So it's the knocking Ola as well. So the model of Ola is not working properly, and I think that's something is a big issue for Ola. The distribution network for TVS and Bajaj is working perfectly, and that's why they've been able to scale to 24% of market share. So remember, in last 1 year, the kind of market share gain these two have done is pushing sales across that wide network of it. So Ola identified their lacuna, but they were not able to execute it. So Ola said, right, 2,000 or 4,000 outlets or something, they want to do it, but they were not able to open up those outlets, which is there. So it's an outlet-led game in EV.
Okay. So that's on cars. Now, Nestle, first bonus issue.
Since 96.
96.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been a company which has been rewarding shareholders with respect to dividends for sure, right? Means they've been, and of course at some point in time they had been have a higher royalty payment to the parent and all.
And the Maggie issue.
And
a few
Maggie issue,
others.
yeah.
But they've been able to come back in a big way after the Maggie issue which happened, which is there. But despite that, we didn't stop eating Maggie. Simple as that. So we have gone.
No, that point of time everybody had.
I think for that period of 6-7 months or so, yeah.
It's a small
the ban
blip
was
which
there,
is
yeah.
which was there.
By the way, you don't find Maggie in Switzerland. You don't
Really?
find Maggie in Switzerland, no? There's no Maggie in Switzerland. So if you, if you just purely think about it from a perspective of what is the product.
Indian innovated product or something there, some matter.
Yeah, and it's available in some of the other places where the Indian stores might be there in globally as well. Maybe, I don't know. It's not that in Switzerland now. 3 years on a trot, I've tried and hunted for it. And it's not there because in that cold, it's a great product to have, right?
Yeah.
You don't get it.
What is the alternative there?
Sorry?
What is the alternative there?
No, package noodles necessarily not be. There might be alternatives in the grocery stores which I couldn't find. But I was looking for Maggie because Nestle hometown is Switzerland, right? So in Zurich and Davos, I tried and hunted at the Coop stores or other stores. Maggie, not there.
But I think this is coming a little late for me.
What, the bonus?
The bonus and the split and.
But Sajeet, ठीक है, dividend भेज रहा है, bonus कर रहा है, तो therefore it's positive.
No, my point from a point of view of it was just removed from the index recently, right? Last Friday. And one of the reasons was the kind of liquidity which was there. Means market cap wise, it is one of the top market cap FMCG companies which is there. The liquidity was the issue which was because of which it went out. Had this thing would have come in maybe 2-3 months in advance, they would have been able to bring that liquidity back into the script, because people hoard Nestle's shares. That's I've seen people hoarding because dividend अच्छा देता है. So imagine if the bonus is.
The yield is not good, by the way.
Price is so high, na.
Exactly, the yield is not good. So therefore, don't buy Nestle for the dividend. That's my limited point because the yield is very bad.
Right, but जिनके पास Nestle shares हैं, वो अभी इस price में नहीं, वो 10 साल से 15
साल. But Sajeet, that is a wrong way of looking at things, right? मेरा value तो अभी जो है, if I have 1 share of or 10 shares,
1.5% yield होगा, उससे ज़्यादा क्या?
वही है. So it doesn't matter what my cost price is, right? What matters is what my current price is, because I can invest that amount into some other stock. Cost price doesn't matter.
But have you seen any fund manager saying कि अच्छा Nestle मेरे portfolio में मैं निकाल देता हूँ? नहीं करता.
जो benchmark रहेगा वो रख के रखेगा. No problem.
But ऐसी पता रहेगा. It's like free float निकल जाता है उसका.
But the retail investor doesn't have to obey the benchmark, right? For the retail investor,
return is the best thing.
Yeah. Benchmark से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Banks 33% होने दो, आपको 33% portfolio banks में रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Simple है. Okay. So we've discussed NATO hiring. Nifty Realty is down 5% intraday. It could be
क्या हो रहा है अनुशी निफ्टी रियल्टी में
कुछ हो रहा है?
Sir, you should be the best one. जब भी कुछ bearish होता है realty में, he's the one who's grinning the most.
मैं तो वैसे भी ग्रीन कर
लगा वो bear का मुख क्या?
That aggression comes
Where
from
the
Nifty
bear mask
Realty.
can come.
So what do you? Yeah.
I don't think it's
कुछ नहीं.
It's just
it's a correction. Index has gone up also. यार we've seen Nifty index already going.
But since the RBI moves, etc., some real estate has done very well, so therefore not surprised. What else? So the trending stocks today were Titan, and remember, guys, on Titan, it was interesting because we did Summit did some checks as well about how Q1 could be very, very strong. So that was one, and gold prices coming off would aid those companies as well, so that is very good as well. Now we can take some questions, by the way, and some comments. By the way, comments.
Just to Nifty Realty is up really 5.4%.
Yeah.
In June alone.
Yeah, okay, that's the point you were making, right? Perfect. Okay, so now appreciation coming in firstly. Anushi, Pranav Hegde is congratulating you. Ashish Malik is congratulating you. Harsh Sehta is also congratulating you.
Thank you, Harsh. Shout out.
Okay.
As I think Pranav has already said, Harsh is under the weather. Yes, he is. So that's the reason.
Okay. Question to the team. View on mid caps and small caps. Rally ahead. I mean, specific rally will continue. So I don't think there should be a question around it, right? Anybody, either of you prefer?
No, I think Q1 will be a good one to watch out for.
For specific companies, for sure. Yeah, because of the June quarter. Any other view?
No, I think the rally should continue for these mid cap, small cap names that you're saying.
Can you explain why we are going up? Not that I'm complaining, but I remember a lot of people saying that we are fairly valued, moderately overvalued, macro data. Just trying to understand. No, Roshan, if you tuned in, we were all the time saying that no, things are looking good. In fact, Roshan, think of it. Q1 will actually be a good quarter, YOY basis pay, because Q1 last year, Q2 last year were weak. So therefore, you might actually have a decent Q1 and Q2.
The advanced sex numbers.
But फिर भी base इतना low है कि मुझे लगता है कि फर्क पड़ेगा. I think that will be this thing. आज नीलेश को यही पूछा हमने कि भाई Q1 base number के हिसाब से तो अच्छा होएगा, but absolute number कितना अच्छा का पता नहीं है. Advanced tax numbers दिखा रहे हैं कि शायद अच्छा ना हो. So they needed, but if you look at the year at large, you're probably penciling in still at these levels 10-12% growth.
12%, that's very aggressive growth.
Why?
Last year कितना growth हुआ था मालूम है?
Last year is an aberration.
Last year,
election year, unseasonal rains, all of that.
हम हर साल शुरू करते हैं 12 से 15% और नीचे
2021 to 24, we actually trended higher all through. अभी आप इतना बदनाम मत करो Indian market.
But wasn't the outlook that even FY26 was going to be more on the muted side?
Maybe. So I'm saying even if we grow 9% earnings, right? 9% earnings growth happens. Forget 12%. 10% 10% earnings growth at the current valuations, we're not very expensive. You just need the Nifty to hold up. If the Nifty doesn't crack, the sentiment stays okay. Mid caps, small caps can rally. That is what you want, because earnings growth is happening there, no?
Yeah.
A lot of defense companies will grow. Paras Defense came in and said that we expect 40% growth. We don't want to be overly aggressive in growth projections.
40% के बाद भी.
भाई क्योंकि आप सोचो उसका annual turnover 350 crores था. He said 2,000 crore order book likely. Execution period 18 to 24 months. मैंने बोला यार अगर इतना execute करोगे आप तो your numbers will be looking very solid. He said no, we don't want to project that. We just want to project 40% growth.
Yeah, and this is from a 900 crore of an order book that he's saying. So he wants to just double his order book by this. And 1 year is the kind of execution period that we are seeing for it. So it is an interesting one.
So the point being earnings growth वहाँ पे है ना. So Nifty should hold true. Earnings growth will take it forward. What next, sir?
Vicky is talking about fashion retail business has generally not been a good business to invest in. Pantaloons, Marks and Spencer. What is that trend in B2 retail are doing differently to do well in this business?
Good point.
Good point. Means so Pantaloon and Marks and Spencer को इस side में रख के trend and V2 का check करते हैं. It's a kind of supply chain that they are looking at. Means I think why Trent is been able to do it is that they've been able to bring in Zudio in a big fashion, and Zudio is now $1 billion business in terms of revenue alone. I think the ticket size is less than 1,000, right?
Yeah.
And to deliver a quality product and fashionable product under 1,000 requires a very thorough supply chain management, which is there, which I think they've been able to do it very well. That's where I think Pantaloon is failing, and that's where I think Marks & Spencer is also failing. Marks & Spencer anyways in India is a franchise along with Reliance Retail, which is there. So I think that's one of the V2 retail is again, is into the smaller cities, right? In that sense. So you have those ticket sizes which help you. If you go with 1,000 rupees, you get two to three items within that amount of, and that's what is pushing. It's a volume business for them. It's not. I don't think the margins are much on V2 retail.
But even Pantaloons is majorly under the 1,000 bracket, if I'm not wrong. But it's the demand. Yeah.
Yeah, but point is that वहाँ पर supply chain इतना हुआ है कि वो costly हो जाता है उनके लिए.
मुझे लगता है कि competitive intensity in the Pantaloon this thing versus I think what Trent has gotten right as per Milind Karmarkar and a few others, that one, they've got the right kind of products for the right kind of pricing, not just in Zudio but even otherwise, right? West Side is doing very well, and a lot of people like the pricing.
So West Side is above 1,000, and Zudio below 1,000, and now I think they will talk about that they're coming with a premium also.
And it's also Smart Bazaar, which is not contributed there, but
Star Bazaar,
Star Bazaar, yeah.
So they've gotten, if you just look at the growth, right? The growth that has come into Trent all through the years. I mean, one thing that
50% plus CAGR.
It just continues.
Yeah.
And their guidance till F32 speaks about a 25% CAGR. So which is what they've gotten right.
वो 32% कुछ आया था तो लोग disappointed कि 32 आ गया 15 नहीं आया. मतलब look at the kind of top line also they have it, right, in that sense.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
If Nifty is to go up in July in line with seasonality, which sectors other than banks are likely to participate?
See, IT may not, right? KPIT Tech gave a warning. Tata Tech echoed it in our interview that we have. So ER&D is gone. Nandan Nilekan is saying that there is a lot of tech issue right now. So therefore, all of that put together, very likely that IT will.
And Accenture also gave almost a warning for order inflows and all.
Right. So tech will not participate. Autos very likely will not participate. Right. So therefore, in terms of heavyweights on the index,
और FMCG कर भी नहीं रहा है क्योंकि discretionary spend
नहीं हो रहा अभी तक नहीं हो रहा.
तीन सेक्टर ऐसे निकल गए.
3 सेक्टर निकल गए. तो बाकी इंडेक्स
11%, 8% और FMCG में भी 10, मतलब 25% ऑफ योर इंडेक्स ऐसे निकल गए. 33% है जो बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंस जो क्लिक कर रहा है. ऑयल एंड गैस में
NBFCs will do well.
33% में बैंक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल आ गए ना.
हाँ, तो NBFCs will do well, banks will do well, oil marketing companies will do well. On the earnings front. Therefore, can they go up? Weightage उतना नहीं है. नहीं, but Nifty छोड़ दो. Nifty छोड़ दो ना. Nifty अगर ऊपर जाएगा तो कौन से और सेक्टर्स जो ऊपर जाएंगे वो पॉइंट है.
और कौन से बचे सेक्टर्स?
डिफेंस ऊपर जाएगा.
रेलवेज भी है.
Defense railways maybe. I don't know about
defense will do
decent. Railways there's.
I think defense will have a one-off thing. 4 or 5 companies will have a one-off thing because of
operations in
No, not if operations do, but emergency procurement which is coming. So उसके वजह से आएगा थोड़ा बहुत इस साल में उनके लिए. BEL आएगा, BEML को आएगा. In those and I think the management also spoke about it कि आने वाला है वो.
Yeah.
So that's something which is there. So we have a very limited number of sectors which are going to go up.
But again, if you just hear the 2 or 3 interviews that we've done in the last 2-3 days. So Nilesh Shah, Envision today, Ashish Gupta of Axis yesterday, and uske pehle bhi kisi ka, they are all spoken about sectors that they want to bet on. I think it will help. So Nilesh, for example, spoke about defense and railways, and he is very constructive there. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Ramesh,
Ola Electric 54.
I don't know what's happening in that company. और अभी तो मुझे इसका मॉडल के ऊपर भी शक हो रहा है.
Yeah, so why do you want to buy the dip? And there's a dip in a lot of other things. So यहाँ पे जहाँ पे clarity नहीं है, why do you want to buy? I'm not saying it's a bad buy or a good buy. Maybe a great buy. But clarity अगर है आपको तो ठीक है. वरना फंड कर रहे हो.
6 महीने और 9 महीने के अंदर वो अपना strategy change करते हैं and the stock runs up like like Zomato ran up, right?
नहीं, but मैं बोल रहा हूँ Zomato पे आपको पता था वो क्या कर रहा है. ओला में पता नहीं है ना. तो
पता भी नहीं है. हाँ, पंट ले रहे हैं यहाँ पर.
पंट लेना है आपको.
Good time to start building position in Bharti Airtel for long term.
It always pays off. Yeah.
It's the only available telecom stock which is showing and medium term growth. बता रहा है कि ARPU 300 करेगा 3 to 5 years में. Nestle India issue first ever bonus. We spoke about it. Sadanand Sinha, Niraj sir, what's your view on Havells has become a laggard now?
So we are going to do an in-depth interview with Mr. Anil Rai Gupta from one of their factories. So I think at that point of time, there'll be more clarity that could emerge. It's gotten into all the pockets that it is into are now facing stiff competition from newer players and from incumbents. And I think which is why there's a problem. Plus, the cooling segment has an issue in this year, as Voltas and some of the others have said, because of unseasonal rains and a high base last year. So no surprise it's become a laggard. But we'll talk to Anil Gupta and try and find out more.
But I think it acquired Lloyd's and it almost turned it around. But is it delivering what it was supposed to deliver? I don't think so.
I don't know about the metrics that they had laid out when they did the acquisition, to be very honest. But I think the only question is that
could they have done it on their own? Do they have to, instead of doing it through an acquisition, which was at that time we considered it a little more expensive at that time. But
Lloyd's is doing well. I don't know whether that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether what was the theory when they bought it and what was the delivery believed to be. But let's figure out. We'll talk to them.
This space is changing in a big way actually. The cooling space with respect to fans and other stuff is I think I was speaking to one of the management which is there, which is जो आपका आरो जो है ना आरो जो बनाता है company. I'm not getting that cool and other cool fans and others they make, right? They were talking about how few years back Attenborough came and it's just changed the entire industry with respect to the premiumness in the fan segment.
Okay.
I see ACs में भी हो रहा है.
Okay.
So
ठीक है. KPI Tech short-term view, is it the right time to buy or hold? Ramesh, the commentary isn't constructive. You might want to wait for the results, which will also not look good.
Q1.
And maybe commentary changes after Q2 because some brokerage note had said that H2 will be very good for ER&D companies. But the commentary from KPIT itself and Tata Technologies, which confirmed that yes, things are not looking very good right now, is true. So near term, maybe there is more pressure actually.
Yep, and we've been talking about this ER&D companies facing an issue with respect to delivery and execution because European companies for whom they are working, they have delayed. Your BMWs, your Volkswagens, and other Mercedes have, delayed new launches, which will impact ER&D companies in a way. So that could be one of the reasons why the delay in execution is also happening.
Okay, we have 1 minute, so we'll have to do a bit of a rapid fire.
Yes,
Anushi, any thoughts on Ethos? Do you track it? No.
Ethos, no.
No, not okay. So rights issue by Ethos. I don't have a view. Sajid, very quickly, 30 seconds. Do you have a view?
No.
Okay, no view. Looking at the time horizon for the next 3-5 years, what could be some of the best ETFs that can provide best returns?
Good.
Gold ETF.
Gold ETFs. Again, I was just gonna say that.
I will go for Nifty next 50 ETF.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Because it's the next 50 companies and more aggressive growth companies.
Perfect. Perfect. Your views on Stuffcraft, Kajaria Tiles, and Orient Bell Tiles? Sorry, no view at all. Bhumila, I'm so sorry, but no, we don't. I haven't tracked them for a long time.
Consumer space, which is I know about Stuffcraft, consumer space, which is facing a stiff competition from almost many consumer company because household appliances is now everyone is trying to.
Sir, rapid fire.
अगला.
आप बताओ. अच्छा चलो. Big Mridul, big fan watching from Nicaragua. Thank you so much, Mridul. Really appreciate. Warren Buffett is asking us. Oh, this is a big thing. What about Vishal Mega Mart? Any thoughts, either of you?
आप बताइए.
नहीं, I don't have a view.
Even I don't.
नहीं.
So sorry. No, don't have
But
a view.
Vishal Mega Mart में अभी recently sale हुआ ना, block deal हुआ.
And got absorbed really well.
well.
So informed investors have bought in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the good.
So CDMO and pharma.
Today there is a Jeffries note which speaks very positively about this. Somidat put out the lines and Jeffries has done the conversation with companies and all companies are very positive on big pharma spends on CDMO. So therefore watch out for that. I mean, if I can, while you go to the next question, I'll just try and pull up that note.
Yeah. What's your overall view on Q1? Which sector will outperform in this question? We spoke about it, Suraj. We spoke about banking doing well and banking, finance and NBFC is doing well. We have issues with respect to auto. We have issues with respect to IT. We have issues with respect to FMCG. Did we miss out any? Defense company will do well and OMCs and oil companies will do well.
Okay, very quickly. Because of the Bharti question, there is a CLSN note on telecom which says that think Bharti, Indus and Tata Communications will be bought into. So just in case that helps. But more importantly, on the pharma thing, Jeffries has put out a note saying that they met 5 India CRDMO firms last week. Big Pharma is diversifying geographically, benefiting Indian CRDMOs with small molecule expertise. Many projects are in clinical phases, so growth will be lumpy, but 15 to 20% CAGR is likely. GLP-1 could be meaningful growth for generic CMOs from 2026. Piramal Pharma, diversified growth across CDMO and generics. Syngene aiming for growth, but has a lot of work to do. Laurus Labs bullish on Big Pharma. Cohan's building a technology-driven platform. And Gland Pharma aiming to be back on growth path. These are their views. Okay, so that's on pharma. What else? Last 1 minute.
Last 1 minute. Is it good time to buy NSE? Should we stay away from unlisted shares as risk?
No, please don't stay away from unlisted shares, but be careful when you're buying them.
Yeah, I mean, look at the price. Look at HDB is a classic case where the stock was trading at 12.50 in the private market, and it's now coming at 7.40. Now I don't know whether on listing it'll go from 7.40 to 12.50, but those who bought at 12.50 are locked in for next 6 months. So when you're buying from an unlisted company in the private market, beware that your shares will be locked for next 6 months after listing. So you will not be able to exit.
Perfect. Okay, guys, we have to wrap up.
Yes, Himalaya is saying love the show, and he's asking about Adani Enterprise demergers and R Infra. I don't have a view on R Infra, but I think the airport demerger or unlocking of value is happening in 2020. That's what they've been sticking to.
Adani Enterprise. Okay, cool. We leave it at that, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining in once again from all of us. Anushi, congratulations.
Thank you, Bolo.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.